One of the biggest lies that people are being told when they are not feeling okay, when they are feeling suicidal, when they're feeling depressed, is that there's something wrong with them. The truth is, we live in a very toxic world. We live in a world where people don't have rights. We live in a world where people have to work like slaves in order to survive. We live in a world where people are doing things that are not even natural in order to survive. Them not feeling okay has to do with living in a world that is not good for them. You see, if you are living in a world where you are treated like a slave, you're not supposed to feel okay. If you live in a world where you have to work shitty jobs in order to survive, you're not supposed to feel okay. When you live in a world where you have to be indoctrinated, you're not going to feel okay. When you live in a world where you have to do things that you don't want to do in order to survive, you're not supposed to feel okay. So, not feeling okay is a symptom, it's not the actual problem. If somebody hits you and your face got swollen, that is not the problem. The problem is not that your face got swollen. See, the problem is that you got hit. We live in a society where things that are happening are hurting us. Things that are happening are confusing us. Things that are happening are making us feel anxious. So if a person has social anxiety, it does not mean that there's something wrong with them. If a person says, I don't want to go outside and interact with people, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. People are toxic. People are so toxic that it's actually better to stay at home and not deal with them. That is why there are a lot of people now that are suffering from anxiety. They don't want to deal with people because people are toxic. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. If people are depressed and they don't want to go to work, they don't want to go to school, they don't want to be around people, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. If we were living in a world that was good, in a world that made sense, and people were like, I'm not feeling okay, I don't want to deal with people, I don't want to work, I don't want to be in a relationship, it would make sense to say, okay, there's something wrong with these people. But no, the world is toxic. You see, the world is very, very toxic. So people not feeling like they wanna, participate in things that are being done in this world does not mean that there's something wrong with them. We must stop lying to people. This world is truly messed up. And people are not supposed to feel okay. People are not supposed to feel okay having to work shitty jobs. People are not supposed to feel okay having to work just to buy food and pay for transport. People are not supposed to feel okay with being on social media the whole day. That's not natural. People are not supposed to feel okay with having to read books the whole day. Especially if they're not interested in reading those books. No, they're reading those books because they were born in a world where they are supposed to read books in order to qualify to, get a job. And humans need jobs so that they can get the things that they want. If they're not getting the things that they want, they're gonna feel worse. So they have to read those books that they don't want to read. They have to memorize things that they don't want to memorize. They have to care about things that they don't care about in order to survive. How are they supposed to feel okay? We're not supposed to feel okay if we are being treated like slaves, if our rights are taken away from us, if there are people who can say that you no longer have this right, you're no longer allowed to go to that place, you cannot even make autonomous choices. People are not supposed to feel okay if they're living in a world like that. You're not supposed to feel okay being treated like a prisoner in a world that you didn't even ask to be born into. You know, people are just born here without their consent because there are still people who don't realize how bad things are in this world. So they keep on bringing people into this world, and they have to deal with this world. They have to deal with this world that they didn't even ask to be born into. So they don't feel okay, because being in this world is not good for you as a person. You are in a world where you are being treated like a slave. You know, you are actually brought here to be treated like slaves. The people that have been here before you accepted this world as it is, because they weren't conscious enough to realize that something was wrong, and they felt like you had to accept this world as well. They felt like you don't have to realize that something is wrong. If you realize that something is wrong, then you are weak. If you realize that something is wrong, then something is wrong with you. You see, the world is good, there's something wrong with you. People are being lied to every day. They're being told that they need antidepressants, they need treatment, you know, for their mental problems. The truth is, the mental problems that they have are symptoms. If they were living in a good world where things made sense, they wouldn't be feeling the way that they're feeling. They're feeling the way that they're feeling because something is wrong with the world. And they're supposed to feel the way that they're feeling so that they realize that something is not right. And that's a natural way to respond to a situation. If you are being abused, you're not supposed to feel good about being abused. You're supposed to feel bad so that you would do something about it. If someone was abusing you every day, and you were feeling good, you would live a truly meaningless life because you think being abused is good. You see? We must really see things as they are. We are very concerned with dealing with surface symptoms instead of dealing with the root cause of the problems that we're having in our society. There are a lot of things that are wrong with this world. And if we don't fix these things, then things ain't gonna get better. We'll still see people killing one another for stupid things, and we think, oh, these people are just bad. No, they're not just bad. There are certain things that are happening in society that we don't even want to deal with that are causing people to, behave badly. If a person gets abused and then they abuse other people, the problem is that they were being abused. The problem is in the main problem is not that they're abusing others. The main problem is that they were being abused, because if they weren't being abused, they weren't gonna abuse others. If a person becomes a school shooter because they are being bullied every day, they go to school and other kids are laughing at them, calling them ugly, telling them that they don't deserve to have a friend, telling them that they don't deserve to be loved. And then one day they decide to go with a gun at school and started shooting everyone. Are we 100% sure that they were the problem, or the kids that were bullying them were the problem? That's what caused them to shoot everyone. We must deal with the root cause of things. We mustn't just deal with the surface symptoms of things. If we really want to fix the problems that we have in our society, we must look at what's really causing these problems. If people steal because they're living in poverty, the problem isn't really that they're stealing. The problem is that they're living in poverty, and human beings want to live comfortably, so they'll do whatever it takes for them to live comfortably, because we're not giving them opportunities to make money so that they'll live comfortably. We expect them to be okay with living in poverty, and that's not okay. That's not the kind of world that people should want to live in. You see, if young men are abusive towards women because they can't really take care of these women, and these women don't really love them like they used to in the past. Like, women don't love men like they used to love them in the past because of how things are in our society. We're supposed to realize that the way that our society is structured is causing a lot of problem for men, especially young men. And we must find ways to deal with that. We mustn't just look at the symptoms. These symptoms will continue to exist if we feel like we only have to deal with the symptoms when bad things are happening in our society. There are a lot of things that are happening that are not right in this world. A lot of things that are happening that are hurting people. A lot of things that are happening that are making people feel like they don't want to be part of this world, and they should feel like they don't want to be part of this world, because the things that are happening hurting them so much that life to them does not make sense. So if you are not feeling okay, if you are feeling suicidal, if you are feeling depressed, you must realize that the problem is society. The problem is how things are being structured in our society. The way that things work is what's causing the problems that are existing in our society. And because of that, you're not feeling okay. You're not in love with the world. You don't love how people are being indoctrinated, how people are not allowed to be themselves, stuff like that. You must realize that it's society that has the problem. It's not you. In fact, I would say that you have a problem if you love this world. If you felt like the world was perfect, I would say there's a problem there. You're not supposed to be okay with seeing a lot of people suffering because of this matrix that we've created. You're not supposed to be okay with seeing people living in poverty. You're not supposed to be okay with seeing people fighting. You're not supposed to be okay with seeing what's happening in Ukraine. You're supposed to feel bad. You're supposed to feel like, hey man, I'm not sure about this world. There's something about it that just isn't right. I would say that if you feel that way, then there's nothing wrong with you. Thank you.